Good evening and welcome to the Posthumous Poetry Series Part 14. This is the first weekend in March, which means we have gotten through December, January, and February, the most trying months of the year. And now we have the siren-like promise of spring. And I believe I'm beginning to catch spring fever. We're also in a Mercury retrograde period for all my intuitive friends. And for those of you who don't know what that means, it would be like the Amish trying to explain to the English, so look it up. I bring that up because that's part of the title of my poem tonight. This poem is a good poem. It's a little long, so bear with me. It digresses, so bear with me. But if you hang in there, don't strap on your seatbelt either, so you can bounce around with me, and we're going to have a good poem. We get to see Salvador Dali and his behaviors and his mental ideas, and then we get to visit with some chaos theory, and then we get to have some Buddhism, and then we get to end the poem. So that's a good deal. The name of this poem is called Retrograde. You can give it to someone else if you'd like. Corpus HYPERCUBICUS. Corpus HYPERCUBICUS being that wonderful painting by Salvador Dali. It looked like Van Gogh all over the road, putting the camera in front of the hearse. He made his delivery wearing a diving suit to show he was plunging deeply into the human mind. Absolutely must find a different subject of delirium. Just before he left his studio, remembered to put on his shoes. Delirium, the most magnificent means of poetic expression. From 6 in the morning to the angelus at night. Lost, 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 lost in a Sahara the size of a telephone kiosk, said Joan Sacs, who viewed Hitler, who viewed, if they see things that way, they should be dealt with in the Department of the Interior, or the sterilization of the insane to prevent the passing on of their unfortunate inheritance. If they don't see things like that, then these artists should be dealt with by the criminal courts, the surrealist. A wet nurse, knitting in a puddle of water. Dali, who painted galacid, delacid, deoxyribonucleic acid to honor Watson and Crick, had lunch with the discoverers of DNA. With him was ultraviolet. Dali ordered puree of string beans for them, claiming it would nourish their DNA. He pulled out of his pocket a lobster painted gold. He was fascinated with scientific literature, subscribed to Scientific American, and recently read the urine of geniuses contained large amounts of nitrogen. Ultraviolet told the 2 Nobel winners she once drank Dolly's urine to raise her genius level, but all it did was give her pimples. Watson and Crick had a plane to catch. Goodell said there's always one more thing that is true that you can't prove. I advance no thesis and cannot be faulted, said Chandrakirti. It's useless to assert a theory. There is no basis for anything because there is no anything. There are bifurcations, double bifurcations, periods of spontaneous generations, local, spatial, temporal chaos, not caused by any outside disturbance, but are inherent in whether or not you understand it intellectually. It is happening right now. Where chaos begins, classical science stops, said Gleek. I'm meditating all the time, says Ming Duong Van, a scientist known as Dr. Chaos. I meditate not with quiet, but with more noise. I go to Las Vegas and play slot machines. That's how I meditate. The moon had tooth marks, floss-covered eyes. Nangpa, Tibetan word for Buddhist, means insider. The lethal ingenuity and intricacy of our confusion. Patro Rinpoche says the logical mind seems interesting, but it is the seed of delusion. Remove the unkindness and harm in ourselves to relate clearly to their fundamental fear, to enter the transforming field of that much vaster vision is to learn how to be at home in change and how to make impermanence our friend.